Hello and welcome to the Triple Loop Agile podcast. My name is Carl Rogers, and today we're going to be asking a very important question. Are microaggressions killing your agility? This is a topic about connecting an agile mindset to micro-affirmations through trust, psychological safety, and unconditional positive regard. So about a year and a half ago now, I attended 2 training sessions on diversity, equity, and inclusivity. That's a DE&I acronym. And as the father of 2 young daughters, this is a topic that I'm becoming ever more conscious of. And as an agile coach, it sparked a clear connection with me between organizational agility and how we act with one another. So the premise here that agile is built upon psychological safety. And you can look at the Simon Powers definition of an agile mindset that is predicated on a belief in people, that as humans we are interdependent upon each other and as such must collaborate together in order to achieve our shared goals, or our goals that are interdependent upon one another. The Heart of Agile by Alistair Cockburn places collaboration at the top of the model, for without collaboration, all attempts to deliver, reflect, and improve will be diminished or lost. So there's this chain in my mind, this connection between an agile mindset and unconditional positive regard. And if we work backwards, we have the agile mindset, which is supported by a people belief that is built upon trust, that requires psychological safety, which requires unconditional positive regard, which is our willingness to believe the best in people, and that is undermined or broken through microaggression. So collaboration is built upon trust, and Lencioni tells us that the first of 5 dysfunctions of a team is the absence of trust. This occurs when team members are unwilling to be open and vulnerable with each other, to ask for help, to state their needs or preferences, or to admit that they were wrong. The Scrum values of respect, openness, and courage all relate to this, by the way. Trust is established when there are psychologically safe environments. In 1999, predating the Agile Manifesto of software development, full software development by 2 years, Professor Amy C. Edmondson defined psychological safety as the belief that one will not be punished or humiliated for speaking up with their ideas, their questions, concerns, or mistakes, and that the team is safe for interpersonal risk-taking. Modern Agile's grounding principle is that safety has to be a prerequisite, essential if teams and organizations are to deliver value continuously, and to experiment and learn rapidly. The latter connects back with the agile mindset and the belief in complexity, that for adaptive problems the end solution is not predictable at the outset. The principle of equivalence from sociocracy builds a bridge between the people belief and the complexity belief. So this is that we involve people in making and evolving decisions that affect them, so that you increase engagement and accountability and make use of the distributed intelligence towards achieving and evolving your objectives. If you're interested in the principle of equivalence, go check out the Sociocracy 3.0 website. Living into the people belief, or the belief in people and the principle of equivalence, requires expressing empathy, support, and acceptance to someone, regardless of what they say or do. This is unconditional positive regard, pioneered by the humanist psychologist Carl R. Rogers. And to be quite clear, we should be in no danger of confusing the founding father of modern psychology with the speaker of this podcast. The difference of a few letters in the alphabet and a few letters after a name as well, I suspect. So are microaggressions inhibiting the growth of unconditional positive regard in your organization, in your team, or from within yourself? The Merriam-Webster defines a microaggression here, by the way, as a comment or action that subtly or often unconsciously or unintentionally expresses a prejudiced attitude towards a member of a marginalized group, such as a racial minority. Microaggressions affect the everyday work environment by making it hostile and less validating. Here are a few examples of microaggressions within the context of an agile organization. This is based on a helpful example sheet from the Imperial College London. By the way, I'm going to put a link to my original article, which has links to all of what I've been describing over the course of this podcast. So here's the first example. This is the myth of meritocracy, that software development is so accessible, anyone can succeed if they just try hard enough. The message being that if we have a level playing field, then if women, LGBTQ+, BAME, disabled people can't make it, then that's their personal failing. Then the second is gender. Hey Jane, could you set up our meetings for this sprint? And can you run the retrospective? Asked the product owner to the one female development team member. The message being that women should take on the nurturing and housekeeping roles. The third example is LGBTQ+. Look, could you pair up with Ron for the next sprint? I know he's gay, and I think, frankly, that us being that close for 2 weeks might give him the wrong idea of me entirely. So the message being that homosexuals are over-sexualized. And then my fourth example is religion. We are working hard to make the next release. And is Amit really going to take off the last day of the sprint to have a water balloon party? That there is a dominant culture that everyone should assimilate to is the underlying message in that example. Let's be honest and clear. None of these messages have a place in modern culture. They demonstrate a clear lack of unconditional positive regard and prevent psychological safety from growing. Without psychological safety, there is no trust. Without trust, there is no basis for constructive conflict around ideas, no commitment, no accountability, and no focus on results. The people belief is not fulfilled, and therefore teams and organizations are unequipped to respond to the adaptiveness of complex environments. Proactivity towards relentless improvement isn't diminished. In the long run, such organizations will fail, or at least they will deserve to. So let's talk about micro-affirmations. So unsurprisingly, the path to an agile-minded culture starts with how we treat each other. And leaders go first. Actually, I'm currently listening to Simon Sinek's audiobook, Leaders Eat Last. So similar, leaders go first, leaders eat last. For an agile organization, establishing a strong program of diversity, equity, and inclusivity training is a must. Something that we can all start doing is practicing micro-affirmations, also known as micro-moves. The Employers' Council describes these as including nods, facial expressions, choice of words, and tone of voice that convey inclusion, caring, and listening. There's Professor Mary Rowe at MIT, who hypothesized that micro-affirmations provide the answer to overcoming unconscious bias. This is supported by research that evidences their importance and power in facilitating engagement, initiating change, and enabling us all to make a personal contribution to inclusivity. So, in conclusion, here are a few micro-affirmations to try. Recognize the achievement of others. This was some incredible test refactoring. Hitting that 95% coverage felt like a pipe dream just a few short months ago. Or weeks, however you want to frame that. Hey, second, give credit to another person's idea. It was Jane's idea to slice this backlog item by user personas, and it really helped us to minimize the work we needed to do. Thirdly, ask for an opinion. Hey Ron, I'd like to get your opinion on how we could configure this new API. And my last example, take a genuine professional interest in someone's personal life. Amit, how was Holly? What was it like? So in this podcast episode, we've been looking at whether or not microaggressions are killing your agility. I'd love to hear what you think and what your views are. This has been the Triple Loop Agile podcast. I have been Carl Rogers. Thank you very much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.